Yo, what's good? Welcome back to, I guess, whatever week this is. I'm a little late on this video because, like I said, I'm a student. I've got school stuff to do. But for those of you who are new here, my name's Colin. I run Gothic Gaming, a small online Pokemon business that I run out of my living room. All focused on giving you guys the best price possible for sealed product because everything is insane right now. The ultimate goal being get distribution and offer MSRP or lower. So, kind of similar to the last video, I think these might all kind of have a similar format as time goes on. But at least for this one, we're going to give some business updates. Talk about what's going on, and then kind of look at the change in the market as I'm seeing it moving forward. We started talking a little bit about the market last video. Just kind of being able to give updates and keep things relatively consistent. So to start us off, big news, we've got our first card show this coming Saturday. It's in Salisbury, North Carolina. If you're around there, come out, do stuff. I'll be there. My best friend from middle school is going to be there, so it'll be hype. We got a lot of great cards to be there. I think I'm probably going to have some sealed stuff. We'll see how much space I have in the trunk. This week's kind of been focused on getting ready for the show and how I'm setting everything up, and there's a lot that goes into a card show. If you've never vended before, you might not entirely think about it, but we've got to price everything out, figure out how we're going to organize the display case, where we're going to, are we going to have a binder of dollar cards or a box of dollar cards, and how are we taking payment, and how are we labeling prices, because everything comes back to how can, I say we because there's two of us, but, may not always be two of us. But how can we offer the best experience because we've been to these shows and, so all that to say, we're having price labels. Everything is going to be clearly labeled because we all hate walking up to a vendor and saying, oh, how much is this card? And then waiting 5 minutes for them to look up comps and then say, okay, it's this much. And then going back and forth after that. It's just better for everybody if everything's clearly labeled. So we're doing that. We're taking a variety of payments. Turns out a lot of like PayPal and Venmo, they all have business accounts. So you have to set those up and can take payments that way. We're always taking cash, of course, that's king, but, it's all the small things, right? You need to order cases and tablecloth and how are we, going to get our name out there and stuff like that. I'm still figuring it out. I booked this show and found out 2 weeks in advance that I was going to be in it, which, it was a pop-up show. It's not, there's no shade to the organizers. I'm happy to be there. I'm happy at short notice because I didn't think that I was going to get into a show for the rest of the year. So always happy for the opportunity. It's PAL Productions that puts them on. Look them up on Instagram. You'll find their upcoming shows and all that good stuff. So it's a lot of small things. I'm going to be pricing, today's Wednesday, I'm going to be pricing stuff out probably tomorrow in preparation for Saturday. Just trying to get it as close as possible. Normally I would do it the night before, but I have some stuff going on, some personal stuff. So we're doing it Thursday anyways. Something goes up or down, people are going to negotiate regardless. So we'll do that. We'll be there all day. I think show starts at 3:30. We'll be there till close. I don't believe in leaving shows early regardless of turnout because you never know who might come in at the last minute. But we'll be there. Come check us out. Say hello, do the thing. It'll be a good time. In other business news, no more sales. We're still sitting at 2, which is you know, I'm never going to complain about sales, but again, we always want them to be higher, you know, can't help it one way or another. But we're doing our best to get our name out, you know, started making more Instagram reels and YouTube shorts and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully getting a little more visibility, a little more traction, stuff like that. And over time, it'll grow, right? If you're following along or you're starting your own business or whatever, it's going to be slow. Nobody starts out making, you know, hundreds of sales a day, right? It starts small, especially in such a saturated market. But you know, we're grinding, we're keeping it going. Can't wait for Phantasmal to come out because that looks baller. I love the piplet that's going to be in it. I really kind of need it for my personal collection because he's a little guy, and it's, you know, eventually we'll do a video on a binder tour or whatever, but you know, I've got a page of little guys that I like, you know, Tatsugiri's on there, Fuecoco, Tatsugiri's my favorite. 1.5 is Squirtle, you know. I'm a big fan of the Squirtle squad back in the day. But yeah, you know, that's about it. There's no major changes to the business. You know, we're still looking at things. Twilight Masquerade ETBs went live for $62, I think. I still wholeheartedly recommend, like, as of today, you know, if you're watching this 3 years in the future, who knows, but I still recommend picking them up as cheap as you can, and they're good. I think Twilight is a sleeper set. I think just like Journey Together, people aren't hype about Journey Together. I am, because it's cool. I think the arts are sick. I think it's a great long-term hold, and you know, that kind of transitions us to this whole market talk, right? Last week, you know, last video kind of said like, hey, I think things are going to be, you know, steady, maybe downward trend a little bit. I think it's going to cause some panic. You know, we saw that, we're seeing that, right? Things are down 10%. Now, you know, everybody's gonna, you know, if you're looking around, everybody's putting out videos saying things are crashing, you know, oh, it's finally happening. 10% doesn't mean much, to be honest. If you're panicking over 10%, dump it, I'll take your stuff, right? You know, it's a little bit of an adjustment. It's not a major one when you consider still modern, still being printed. Boxes are going for over 300. Like, I don't think that, you know, this is the quote unquote crash that everybody thinks it is. We'll see kind of long term. I think the next couple of months are going to be pretty stagnant, you know, slight decline. Some things will go up still, some stuff will go down. You know, I don't, you have to zoom out a little bit, right? When you're never going to have everything peaking at all-time highs all the time consistently, right? So really just kind of take a step back, you know, looking at your TCG player, your collector charts, and seeing, you know, oh, it's going down again, and oh man, you know, my collection was 10 grand and now it's you know, 900 or 9,000. Oh no. Don't panic. If you're panicking over the 10%, sell it. Just dump it. Get rid of it. You know, this isn't for you. Long-term holding may not be for you. You're probably flipping stuff. You know, I say that as if I'm not also buying stuff and selling it immediately, right? But that's kind of the business aspect of this. In reality, I keep stuff for myself, and I have boxes that I'm holding on to and will continue to hold on to them, whether they go up or down. And you know, once it's at a point in which I'm fine walking in the profits for it, I'll walk it in and take it. But for right now, there's a lot of stuff that I'm just going to sit on. Obsidian Flames is one of them. I've got a box of that. You know, it's small because, bro, I'm in college. I'm not buying cases, right? To sit on for 20 years. Once I get my big boy job, I'm going to start doing that. But, and looking towards the future, if you see stuff at good deals, buy it. You know, if you can get it MSRP slightly above or under it, take it. You know, we're not at a point in which, you know, a couple years ago where if you were buying at MSRP, you were paying too much. You know, if you bought an ETB for $65 or $60 or whatever, MSRP is what, $59.99? I think. If you bought it for $60, 65 plus tax, you absolutely overpaid. I don't know if we're ever gonna see that again. You know, that may have been one of those kind of, everybody wishes it can go back to that, but it never does. Kind of like, you know, the dollar menu at McDonald's. I don't think it'll ever be as good good as it used to be. But, you know, if you can secure MSRP, get it and hold it. I mean, we're in this for the long game, right? We're not, you know, panicking over 10% when it's a Destin Rivals booster box, and you know MSRP is what, 175 plus 175 with tax or something like that, and it's no longer, you know, 350. It's now 300. You know, that's why I said you got to take a step back and you got to realize this is still way above probably where it should be. Especially if you're buying around that range, right? Don't buy it insanely high, right? Like I'm gonna say buy it in MSRP or under or whatever. If you're holding it for 20 years, maybe fine. You're okay paying a little higher, you know, but if it's worrying you, or if, you know, you're stressing out because you know, like I said, 10% loss, this probably isn't for you. You know, you're seeing, at least, like, I love to gauge things based off of Marketplace, right? Because I feel like there's so many people that have just been flipping on Marketplace for the last year that you can really get a gauge for who's in this long term, because Twilight Masquerade, like I said, it had a dip. I'm not quite sure where it's sitting at right now. I think last I checked over a week ago was like 67 per ETB. I don't know what it's at now, but you know, you saw people listing it for 60. You saw, I bought 5 at 55. Like, that's below MSRP. You got to be crazy to sit here and say, you know, I'm out, you know, I'm out at, you know, a small dip, right? And that's why I go back and I say, or like I will say it now. I've talked to a lot of people, and I say this when I talk about my business is, excuse me, if everything goes under, right? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not selling. I'm not making anything. Nobody wants it. I'm fine holding on to my product, right? All these cards, I'm not going to fire sale them, right? I'm not going to say, oh, man, you know, I bought this for $55 and it's worth 60. Man, I guess I've got to sell it at 50. That's the only place people will buy it. I just need to get rid of it. I'm not taking credit cards. I'm not taking debt. You know, not doing this Klarna crap of paying it like $5 at a time. Don't do that. Don't over leverage yourself on trading cards. Like, come on. This is where we start to see these businesses, right? And these flippers lose money. Some businesses might go under. It's iffy. Like that, the 10% maybe not. But you know, if we continue and be stagnant, people, if you're not, you know, buying crazy, right? There's these stores that, you know, they financed their first purchase and then they flipped it, but when stuff slows down, they have to pay for their next pre-order that they've already kind of locked in. So then they take pre-orders and they're using the pre-order money to pay off last month's order, and stuff starts to snowball. Now, I'm not saying this is the market crash. I'm not saying that, you know, every business is going under, or if you have a business, you're losing it. But I'm saying you shouldn't be putting trading cards on a credit card. Come on. Right, that you can't pay off. If you're doing it to just put everything in one payment, okay, that's a little different, right? But we're not taking out bank loans for 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 trading cards. Okay. So as we move forward, if we continue to see this stagnation, I think once Black Friday comes around and once Christmas starts to come around, things are going to pick up and then probably slope back down around January again. As everything kind of does, everything slows down a little bit in January. Everybody spent so much money on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and traveling that they kind of want to pull back a little bit. You'll probably see a bit of a pullback coming around January. Who knows? It wasn't crazy big last year. It may be this year. It may not be. But don't believe the craze, right? Like, don't feed into this idea that everything is going to zero. If we're seeing modern booster boxes, Destined Rivals, Journey Together, Mega Evolution, Phantasmal Flames, if we see these recede and start coming back down into the 200s, that is good. That is great. You know why? Because people will start to panic, and if you want to do this long term, you'll start buying boxes, right? And you can get them cheaper, and then you can find them on shelves, and then guess what? Everything starts trickling down, and then say it stays stagnant and it keeps going on, right? Then eventually it's going to come back up again, and you're going to sit here and you're going to come back to this video and you're going to say, man, I was glad that I didn't pay $300 for this box because I waited a little bit. Or, you're going to come back and you're going to say, man, I wish I bought it at $300. I don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows what this market's going to do, right? You never know what it's going to do. You can predict it. You can sit here and look in your crystal ball and say, oh, this is what's going on. But nobody actually knows. Be smart with your money. Don't overpay on cards. Don't put it on a credit card. Don't take out a bank loan, right? Don't mortgage the house for more cards. Be smart. Pick your investments and stick in them. If you're trying to flip it, okay. Hunt for MSRP, flip it that way. Oh no, I'm making $30 less on a booster box that I bought for $175 with tax, and I sold it for $280 instead of $300. Oh no. I guess it would be $210, or $310. Sorry, my math is off today. But be smart with your money. Don't put it all into trading cards. But I say that all to say, just be careful. Hype is gonna continue to feed into itself, whether it's for a crash or for a big pump. You're gonna hear a lot of the same stuff on the internet. That's how it goes. They don't always know what's going on, right? So I guess that kind of wraps everything up today, at least for what I'm talking about. Come out to the card show, say hello, do the thing, hit subscribe, like the video, leave a comment saying that you don't believe me and you think it's all going to zero. That's totally fine with me. I'll buy your collection. You might as well give it to me for free. If you're saying it's going to zero, I'll take it at zero. Yeah, so come find us at the card show. I'm going to be posting on Instagram. Follow our Instagram. It's gothic.gaming. Check out the website, gothicgaming.com. It'll all be linked below. Check out the other videos. There might be another one coming soon, unrelated to this market talk stuff. But keep your eyes out for it. Hopefully I'll be able to get some more product on the website soon. Like I said before, Phantasmal Flames, I've got, for me, it's a decent pre-order. It's not too big overall in size, but I've got some pre-order. So definitely, as we get closer to that date, make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter. I sent one out last week notifying everybody time for when ETBs are dropping, and as well as the show. So I'll continue to, try and send stuff out as I get product in with an announcement giving you, saying like, hey, this is when it's going to be. But yeah, check us out, gothicgaming.com. Hopefully we do well at this show. I'm going to get content from the show regardless. But yeah, things are looking solid, and we're chugging along. Don't mortgage the house for Pokemon cards. That's the last thing I'm gonna say today.